The vast black expanse of space shimmered outside the viewport, dotted with distant stars that felt both eternal and indifferent. Inside the dimly lit cabin of a Darrick human starship, Ethan Calder, a once-fit engineer now gaunt and struggling, stared at the flickering console. His broad shoulders had lost their mass, his hollowed cheeks a testament to weeks without proper nutrition. Ethan's predicament was grim. Stranded in uncharted space, running out of food, water, and hope. The emergency beacon had been broadcasting for days, but no response had come. His breath fogged the air in the freezing cabin as the life support system faltered. The silence of space gnawed at his sanity. Suddenly, the console beeped. A proximity alert. Ethan's heart leaped in his chest. He scrambled to the panel, his trembling fingers activating the radar. A massive alien vessel was approaching, its silhouette unlike anything he'd ever seen. The ship's contours were organic, as though grown rather than constructed, with a soft, pulsating glow emanating from its surface. Ethan hesitated, torn between fear and desperation. Then a transmission crackled through. Human distress signal detected. Permission to board? The voice was melodic, strangely soothing yet commanding. Yes, please. I need help. Help. Ethan's voice cracked with relief. He leaned heavily against the console, exhaustion catching up to him. Moments later, a light engulfed his ship, and he felt himself being transported. The sensation was warm, almost like an embrace. When the light faded, Ethan found himself standing in a chamber bathed in a soft blue glow. The air was thick with a sweet floral aroma, and the walls pulsed rhythmically, like the heartbeat of a living creature. Before him stood Ara, an alien woman of striking beauty. Her tall, willowy frame was covered in iridescent skin that shimmered with shades of violet and silver. Her eyes, large and luminescent, seemed to pierce into his soul. Long, flowing strands of silken hair cascaded down her back, their colours shifting with her every movement. She wore a form-fitting garment that seemed to merge with her body, its texture fluid yet solid, like liquid metal. "Welcome aboard," she said, her voice lilting. "I am Ara, a caretaker of this vessel. You are unwell." Ethan's knees buckled as weakness overcame him. Ara moved swiftly, catching him with surprising strength and gentleness. Her touch was cool yet comforting, sending a strange warmth coursing through his body. "Please, I need food," he rasped. Ara's gaze softened. "Your condition is dire. Our sustenance is unlike yours, but I believe there is a solution." She led him deeper into the ship, the walls parting smoothly as they moved. The chamber they entered was unlike anything Ethan had ever seen. In its centre was a crystalline pod filled with a luminous liquid. Ara gestured for him to lie down on a soft, bioorganic platform beside the pod. "I will nourish you," she said, kneeling beside him, "but it may feel unconventional." Ethan's confusion turned to astonishment as Ara's garment retracted slightly, revealing her chest. Her skin seemed to glow brighter, and a viscous silvery liquid began to form at her fingertips. "This is my life essence," she explained. "It will strengthen you. Drink." Ethan hesitated, his mind racing. The concept was alien and bizarre, but his survival instinct overrode his doubts. He leaned forward, his lips meeting the substance. The taste was indescribable, sweet yet savoury, warm and energizing. As the liquid coursed down his throat, he felt a surge of vitality. His muscles tingled and his mind cleared. Ara watched him intently, her expression unreadable. "Your body responds well. This is promising." As Ethan drank, his emaciated frame began to fill out subtly, his skin regaining colour. When he finally pulled away, he felt a strength he hadn't known in weeks. What is this?" he asked, his voice steadier. "A gift, Ara said simply. One that binds us in a way you may not yet understand. Ethan awoke on the bio-organic platform, his body feeling strangely rejuvenated. He stretched cautiously, expecting the familiar pangs of hunger and weakness, but they were gone. In their place was a steady pulse of energy coursing through his veins. His muscles, once atrophied, felt firm and responsive, as though they were regenerating at an accelerated rate. He looked around, trying to ground himself in the alien environment. The chamber walls shimmered with the same rhythmic glow he had noticed earlier, almost as if the ship itself were alive. The scent of sweet flora lingered in the air, calming his. "Nerves good. You are awake," came a lilting, melodic voice from behind him. He turned to see her approaching, her movements fluid and graceful. Her iridescent skin seemed to shimmer brighter than before, and her gaze held a strange mix of curiosity and warmth. "I feel incredible," Ethan admitted, his voice steady. He flexed his arms, marveling at how solid they felt. "What exactly did you give me?" Ara paused, her eyes narrowing as though searching for the right words. "What you consumed is a vital essence unique to my kind. It nourishes, heals, and strengthens. For a human, its effects are profound." Ethan stared at her, trying to process the enormity of her words. "Why would you do this for me? You don't even know me." Her expression softened, and she took a step closer. "It is in my nature to care for those in need, but you are not the first human to encounter my kind. Long ago, we learned that your species is uniquely compatible with our life essence. You are resilient, adaptable, extraordinary." Ethan couldn't help but feel a strange mixture of gratitude and unease. "I thank you, but what's the catch? Nothing this powerful comes without a cost." Ara tilted her head, a faint smile playing on her lips. "The bond it creates is permanent. You have taken something of me into yourself, and now I am tied to you in a way that transcends mere biology." Ethan's brow furrowed. "Tied? How?" Before she could answer, the ship shuddered slightly, as though reacting to an external force. Ara's expression grew serious. She placed a hand on the wall, and a series of glowing symbols appeared beneath her fingertips. "We have entered a volatile region of space," she said. "The vessel is adjusting its course. You must rest further. Your body is still adapting." Ethan shook his head. "No, I'm fine. Whatever you gave me, it's working. Let me help." Ara regarded him for a moment, her luminous eyes searching his face. "Very well. Follow me." Exploring the ship as they moved through the ship's labyrinthine corridors, Ethan marveled at its design. The walls seemed alive, shifting and pulsating as they passed. Bioluminescent tendrils illuminated their path, and the floor beneath his feet felt warm, almost like flesh. "What is this place?" he asked. "It is my home," Ara replied. "Our vessels are not machines in the way you understand them. They are living organisms, grown and nurtured to serve as both transport and sanctuary." Ethan's awe deepened. "Your species, you're so advanced." "Not advanced," she corrected gently. "Just different. Our evolution took a path of harmony with life rather than dominance over it. But enough about us. Tell me, Ethan Calder, what brought you to this desolate part of the galaxy?" Ethan hesitated, the memories of his ill-fated mission flooding back. "I was part of a research expedition. Our ship malfunctioned during a warp jump, and we ended up stranded. The others, they didn't make it." Ara's gaze softened with sympathy. "You have suffered much, yet you endure. That is the strength of your kind." Ethan felt a lump in his throat. Her words, though simple, carried a weight that stirred something deep within him. "I didn't have much choice. It was survive or—" He broke off as they entered another chamber. This one was larger, with a ceiling that shimmered like starlight. In the center stood a pool of glowing liquid, its surface rippling with energy. "This is the heart of the vessel," Ara explained. "It sustains me as much as I sustain it, and now it sustains you as well." Ethan approached the pool cautiously. "Sustains me? What do you mean?" Ara stepped closer, her presence magnetic. "The bond we share is not merely physical. The essence you consumed has begun to alter you on a cellular level. Your body is adapting, becoming stronger, more resilient." Ethan stared at his reflection in the pool, his own image slightly distorted by the glowing liquid. He couldn't deny the changes he felt. His muscles were thicker, his movements more fluid, even his vision seemed sharper. "But why?" he asked, turning to face her. "What's the purpose of this transformation?" Ara hesitated, a flicker of uncertainty crossing her face. "Because, Ethan, I believe your survival may depend on it." A growing connection. As the days passed, Ethan's bond with Ara deepened. She taught him how to navigate the ship, how to communicate with its living systems, and even how to harness the strength he was gaining. Every interaction between them carried an undercurrent of unspoken tension, a connection that went beyond words. Ethan found himself drawn to her, not just because of her beauty, but because of her unwavering kindness and strength. Ara, too, seemed fascinated by him, often watching him with a mixture of curiosity and something more. One evening, as they sat in a quiet chamber overlooking the stars, Ethan finally voiced a question that had been gnawing at him. "Why do I feel this connection to you?" he asked. "Is it because of the essence?" Ara met his gaze, her luminous eyes reflecting the starlight. "The essence creates a bond, yes. But what I feel for you, Ethan, is more than that. I have lived a long time, yet I have never encountered someone like you. Your resilience, your spirit, they inspire me." Ethan's chest tightened. Her words stirred emotions he hadn't allowed himself to feel in years. For the first time, he felt truly seen, not as a broken man stranded in space, but as someone with value. "I don't know what's happening to me," he admitted, his voice low. "But I know I don't want to lose it. Or you." Ara smiled softly. "Then do not fight it. Trust in the bond we share. Together, we are stronger." As they sat in silence, the stars stretching infinitely before them, Ethan felt a sense of peace he hadn't known in years. For the first time, he began to believe that survival wasn't just about enduring. It was about finding something or someone worth living for. The tranquil days. End. The tranquil days aboard Ara's living ship did not last long. Ethan was finally beginning to understand the bond he shared with Ara when the vessel began to tremble. The low, organic hum that typically soothed him turned into a distant vibration pulsing erratically through the walls. Ethan staggered to his feet, gripping one of the bioluminescent tendrils for balance. "Ara," he called out, his voice echoing in the chamber. "What's happening?" Ara entered the room swiftly, her iridescent skin dimmed to a somber hue. She placed her hands on the walls, and glowing symbols appeared once more, their light flickering with urgency. "We are under attack," she said, her voice steady but tense. "A hostile force has intercepted us." Ethan's heart raced. "Hostile? Who? What do they want?" Ara didn't answer immediately. Instead, she turned to him, her expression uncharacteristically serious. "They are hunters. My kind are highly prized for our essence, our lifeblood. They harvest it, sell it, and kill us in the process." Ethan felt a surge of anger rise within him. The thought of someone exploiting Ara, of reducing her to nothing more than a resource to be stripped away, filled him with rage. "What can I do to help?" Ara hesitated, her gaze locking with his. "You've already begun to change, Ethan. The essence inside you gives you strength, but you are still learning to control it. If you fight, you may be risking your life." He stepped closer, his jaw tightening. "If they're coming for you, I'm not just going to sit back and watch. Show me what to do. Preparing for battle. Ara led Ethan to a chamber he hadn't seen before, its walls lined with organic growth that resembled pods. She touched one of them and it unfurled, revealing a sleek, form-fitting suit made of the same bioluminescent material as the ship. "This will protect you," she said, handing the suit to Ethan. "It adapts to your body, enhancing your abilities and shielding you from harm." Ethan donned the suit, surprised at how light it felt. It moulded to his form perfectly, and as soon as it sealed around him, he felt a surge of energy course through his veins. His senses sharpened, and his movements felt faster, more precise. Ara armed herself with a similar suit, though hers seemed to shimmer with a faint golden aura. She extended her hand, and a tendril from the wall transformed into a long, blade-like weapon. She handed a smaller version of it to Ethan. "This is a living weapon," she explained. "It will respond to your thoughts, but you must remain focused. The bond with it is fragile." Ethan took the weapon, feeling it hum faintly in his grip. "What's the plan?" Ara placed a hand on his shoulder. "We defend ourselves. The ship has defences, but if they breach the hull, we will need to fight them off directly." Ethan nodded, determination hardening his features. "Let's do this." The battle begins. The ship shuddered violently as the attackers made their first breach. The walls rippled in pain, the organic structure emitting a low, mournful sound. Ara's expression darkened, and she motioned for Ethan to follow her toward the breach. When they arrived, Ethan's heart sank. The intruders were unlike anything he had ever seen. They were humanoid in shape, but grotesquely augmented with cybernetic implants. Their eyes glowed with a cold, mechanical light, and their movements were jerky yet precise. The lead attacker raised a weapon, a jagged, pulsating device that seemed to disrupt the ship's organic defences. Tendrils that tried to block its path withered and fell away. Ara wasted no time. With a battle cry that sent chills down Ethan's spine, she lunged at the nearest attacker, her blade slicing through its armour with ease. Sparks flew as the creature crumpled, but more were already pouring through the breach. Ethan gripped his weapon tightly, the living blade vibrating in his hands. He focused, willing it to extend, and it obeyed, lengthening into a spear-like shape. He thrust it forward, striking an attacker square in the chest. The blade sank deep, and the creature let out a distorted screech before collapsing. The exhilaration of the fight was unlike anything Ethan had ever experienced. The essence inside him seemed to guide his movements, heightening his reflexes and sharpening his instincts. For the first time, he felt like he truly belonged in this strange, alien world. But the attackers were relentless. For every one they felled, two more seemed to take its place. The ship groaned under the strain, its walls dimming as if losing strength. "Ethan," Ara called out, her voice cutting through the chaos. "The heart chamber. They're heading for it. We must stop them." The final stand. They raced through the corridors, the ship's organic walls pulsing weakly around them. When they reached the heart chamber, they found it already under siege. The glowing pool at its centre was dimming, its energy being siphoned by a large mechanical device operated by one of the attackers. Ara moved swiftly, her blade a blur as she took down two of the intruders. Ethan followed her lead, his spear finding its mark again and again. But the leader of the group, a massive cybernetically enhanced figure, stepped forward, blocking their path. "You cannot stop us," the figure said, its voice a grating metallic rasp. "The essence will be ours." Ethan felt a surge of anger and adrenaline. He charged at the leader, his weapon aimed for its chest. But the creature was fast, faster than the others. It caught his spear mid-thrust, snapping it in two with its mechanical hand. Ethan stumbled back, unarmed and vulnerable. The leader raised its weapon, aiming it directly at him. Before it could strike, Ara intervened. She leapt in front of Ethan, her blade deflecting the attack. The force of the blow knocked her back, but she recovered quickly, her eyes blazing with determination. "Ethan," she said, her voice firm, "focus. The bond between us, it is your strength. Use it." Ethan closed his eyes, trying to feel the connection she spoke of. He concentrated on the essence flowing through him, willing it to manifest. Slowly, he felt a surge of energy building within him, stronger than anything he had felt before. When he opened his eyes, his body was glowing faintly, the same bioluminescent hue as the ship and Ara. His broken spear reformed in his hands, now crackling with energy. The leader hesitated, sensing the change in him. Ethan didn't give it a chance to react. With a roar, he charged, his movements a blur. The spear struck true, piercing the leader's core and sending a shockwave of energy through its body. The leader let out a final, distorted scream before collapsing in a heap of metal and flesh. The remaining attackers faltered, their coordination breaking down. Ara dispatched the rest with swift precision. Aftermath. The chamber fell silent, the only sound the soft hum of the heart pool as it began to recover. Ara approached Ethan, her expression one of awe and relief. "You did it," she said, her voice soft. "You embraced the bond." Ethan looked at her, his chest heaving. "I couldn't have done it without you." She smiled, placing a hand on his cheek. "You are stronger than you know," Ethan called her. "Together, we are unstoppable." As the ship began to heal itself, Ethan realized that his journey with Ara was far from over. The bond they shared had been tested in battle, but its true strength was only... Ethan's moment of newfound peace aboard Ara's living ship shattered when the vessel convulsed. The organic walls that normally pulsed with life dimmed, sending tremors through the chamber. The once soothing hum of the ship turned into a discordant thrum. Ethan bolted upright, gripping a bioluminescent column for support. "What's happening?" he called, panic edging his voice. Ara appeared in the doorway, her usual serene expression replaced by grim determination. The natural glow of her skin had dulled to a pale blue, like a storm cloud before lightning strikes. She placed her hands on the walls, and glowing symbols flared in response, their flicker revealing her growing unease. "We're under attack," she said, her voice calm but laced with urgency. Ethan's stomach dropped. "Attack? Who's attacking us?" "They are hunters," she explained, her tone heavy. "My kind are rare and coveted. They harvest us for our essence, our lifeblood. If they breach the core of the ship, they will take everything, including me." The weight of her words hit him like a physical blow. The idea of losing Ara, of seeing her reduced to some commodity, filled him with a rage he didn't know he had. "What do we do?" he asked, his voice hardening. Ara met his gaze, her radiant eyes steady but searching. "We fight. But know this, Ethan. The essence inside you is still awakening. If you join this battle, it will push you to your limits." He took a step closer, his jaw set. "I don't care. I'm not letting them take you." Her lips curved into a faint, grateful smile. "Then let me prepare you." Weapons of the bond Ara led Ethan to a chamber he hadn't seen before. The walls shimmered with faintly glowing pods, their translucent surfaces pulsing with an inner light. She placed her hand on one, and it unfurled, revealing a suit unlike anything he had ever seen. Sleek, metallic, yet organic, and alive with shifting patterns of light. "This will amplify your bond with the essence," Ara explained, handing the suit to him. "It will make you faster, stronger, and protect you. But it will also challenge you. You must trust yourself. And me." Ethan hesitated only for a moment before slipping into the suit. It molded to his body like a second skin, and a surge of energy coursed through him as the living material synced with his heartbeat. Every breath felt sharper, every movement lighter. Ara donned her own suit, which shimmered with a golden glow that seemed to ripple across her form. She extended her hand, and the ship responded. A tendril snaked down from the ceiling, coiling into a weapon in her grasp, a gleaming blade-like staff. She handed a smaller version to Ethan. "This weapon is alive," she said. "It will respond to your will, but only if your focus is unwavering. The bond must guide you." Ethan gripped the weapon. It hummed faintly in his hands, as if sensing his thoughts. He looked at Ara, determination burning in his eyes. "I'm ready." The attack. The ship trembled violently as the intruders breached its defences. The walls moaned like a wounded creature, their bioluminescence dimming with every tremor. Ethan and Ara raced toward the source of the disturbance, the sounds of clashing metal and organic cries growing louder. When they reached the breach, Ethan's blood ran cold. The attackers were grotesque, a fusion of flesh and machine. Their cybernetic limbs clanked against the ship's floors as they advanced, their glowing eyes devoid of any emotion. The leader of the group, a towering figure covered in jagged metal plates, raised a pulsating weapon. The organic walls recoiled from its vibrations, their defences withering. Ara didn't wait. With a sharp cry, she lunged, her blade a blur as it cut through the nearest attacker. Sparks flew, and the creature collapsed, but the others advanced undeterred. Ethan tightened his grip on his weapon, willing it to extend. To his amazement, it obeyed, transforming into a spear-like form. He thrust it forward, piercing an attacker's chest. The creature emitted a distorted screech before crumpling to the ground. The essence within him surged, guiding his movements. He sidestepped an incoming strike, countering with a swift, precise blow. Each action felt natural, instinctive, as if he had been fighting like this his entire life. But the attackers kept coming. For every one they felled, more poured in, their relentless advance threatening to overwhelm the ship's defences. Ara's voice cut through the chaos. "Ethan, they're heading for the heart. If they reach it, the ship and us will be lost." Defending the heart. The heart chamber was unlike anything Ethan had seen. At its centre was a pool of glowing liquid, its surface shimmering with vibrant, ever-shifting colours. It pulsed in rhythm with the ship, a living, breathing entity. But the attackers were already there, their leader overseeing a device siphoning energy from the pool. Ara wasted no time. She leapt into the fray, her blade flashing as she struck down two of the intruders. Ethan followed, his spear slicing through the air with deadly precision. But the leader stepped forward, towering over them. Its cybernetic body bristled with weapons, and its cold, mechanical voice echoed through the chamber. "You cannot stop us. The essence belongs to us." Ethan gritted his teeth and charged, his spear aimed at the leader's chest. But the creature was fast, faster than the others. It deflected his attack with ease, its mechanical arm swatting him aside like a rag doll. He hit the ground hard, his weapon skidding out of reach. The leader loomed over him, its weapon primed to strike. Before it could, Ara intervened. She stepped between them, her blade deflecting the attack. The force of the clash sent her stumbling, but she quickly regained her footing. "Ethan," she said, her voice steady despite the danger, "you must trust the bond. Feel the essence within you. Let it guide you." Ethan closed his eyes, focusing on the connection he shared with Ara. The essence within him stirred, growing stronger. He could feel her presence, her strength, her determination. The energy surged, filling him with a power he had never known. When he opened his eyes, his body was glowing with the same radiant light as Ara's. His broken spear reformed in his hand, crackling with energy. The leader hesitated, its mechanical gaze locking onto him. Ethan didn't give it a chance. He moved with blinding speed, his spear a blur as it struck the leader's core. A shockwave of energy erupted, sending the creature crashing to the ground. The remaining attackers faltered, their coordination breaking down. Ara seized the opportunity, dispatching them with swift, decisive strikes. Aftermath. As the last of the attackers fell, the chamber grew quiet. The glowing pool at the centre of the room began to brighten, its rhythm steadying as the ship recovered. Ethan leaned on his spear, breathing heavily. Ara approached him, her expression a mix of relief and admiration. "You did it," she said softly. "You embraced the bond." Ethan looked at her, a faint smile tugging at his lips. "I couldn't have done it without you." She placed a hand on his cheek, her touch warm and reassuring. "We are stronger together, Ethan. You and I, we are one." For a moment the chaos of the battle faded, replaced by a quiet understanding between them. The bond they shared was no longer just a connection, it was a promise. Together they had faced the impossible and emerged victorious. The ship hummed quietly in the aftermath of the battle, its bioluminescent walls gradually regaining their glow. The once threatening tremors were replaced by a soothing rhythm, a heartbeat signalling its recovery. Ethan and Ara stood in the heart chamber, their breathing heavy, but their spirits unyielding. Ethan wiped sweat from his brow, leaning on his spear. His glowing armour receded, melting seamlessly back into the ship's organic structure. "Well," he said, his voice tinged with exhaustion, "that was intense." Ara turned to him, her golden eyes reflecting a mixture of relief and pride. "You fought with courage, Ethan. The bond we share is stronger than I imagined. It saved us both." He managed a faint smile, feeling the warmth of her words. "We saved each other." Rebuilding the bond. The aftermath wasn't just about repairing the ship, it was about healing themselves. Ethan helped Ara with repairs, guided by the ship's living essence. Tendrils extended to him, as if sensing his thoughts, teaching him to mend the organic systems. With each repair, he felt the bond between himself, Ara, and the ship deepen. "What's next?" Ethan asked as they secured the final breach. Ara paused, her gaze distant, as if she were listening to a far-off melody. "The hunters won't stop. They know I am here, and they will return. But we've shown them that we are not weak." Ethan's jaw tightened. "Then we keep fighting. Together." She turned to him, her expression softening. "You are human, Ethan. You don't have to stay in this conflict. You've already given so much." "And I'll keep giving," he said firmly. "You're not just someone I happen to meet. You're—" He hesitated, searching for the right words. "You're important to me. I'm not leaving you to face this alone." Her golden glow brightened, a sign of emotion she couldn't quite conceal. "Then I accept your choice. Together, we will find a way to stop this destruction." The journey ahead. In the days that followed, Ethan and Ara worked tirelessly to prepare for what lay ahead. They reinforced the ship's defences and honed their skills, their bond becoming a seamless dance of trust and intuition. Ara taught him more about the essence, how it connected all living things, and how they could harness it to create rather than destroy. But their journey wasn't just about survival, it was about understanding. Ara began to share stories of her people, their culture, and the beauty of a world Ethan could barely imagine. In turn, he shared tales of Earth, its wonders and its flaws. Each story brought them closer, their connection growing beyond the essence that bound them. One evening, as they sat together in the observation chamber, the vastness of space stretching before them, Ethan turned to Ara. "Do you think there's a way to stop them, the hunters, for good?" Ara tilted her head, her glowing eyes fixed on the stars. "Perhaps, but it will require more than strength. It will require understanding. The hunters take because they fear scarcity. Perhaps if we show them another way—" Her voice trailed off. Ethan nodded, understanding the weight of her words. Then that's our mission. To fight, yes, but also to find a way to end this without more bloodshed. A new alliance. Their resolve was tested when they encountered another ship, a vessel that did not attack but signalled a request for communication. Ara hesitated, her instincts wary, but Ethan encouraged her. They might not all be like the ones we fought, he reasoned. What if this is a first step toward peace? Reluctantly, she agreed. The two of them met the crew, a mix of humans and other species who had also been victims of the hunters. Together, they formed an alliance, pooling their knowledge and resources. It was a fragile coalition, but it held promise. For the first time, Ara saw a glimpse of hope, a chance to break the cycle of violence. And for Ethan, it was a chance to prove that humanity could be more than just a fractured, self-interested race. A promise kept. As the coalition's fleet grew, so did the bond between Ethan and Ara. What had begun as an unlikely partnership became something deeper, something unspoken but undeniable. They found solace in each other, a connection that transcended species in the vastness of the universe. One night, as they stood together on the ship's deck, Ethan reached for her hand. Her skin was warm, pulsating faintly with her inner glow. "We'll make it, Ara," he said softly. "We'll find a way." She turned to him, her golden eyes meeting his. "As long as we stand together, Ethan, I believe we can." The stars above seemed to shimmer brighter, as if echoing their resolve. Together they faced the unknown, not as a human and an alien, but as two souls bound by a shared purpose and something much more. Their journey was far from over, but in that moment they knew they had already won the greatest battle of all, the battle to trust, to hope, and to believe in each other. The end.